put down without a fight. The police knew coming into this that these were violent criminals. But it gets
That's crazy. They're actually going to go against the police too. Hey, Texas, were you a supporter? No, bro, like, absolutely not. Like, I don't support this shit at all.
even worse because look at this. One of the guys that they took down has prior arrests for weapon possession.
So he has prior arrests. So I thought he wasn't supposed to be here.
Now that's incredibly serious. Weapons are no joke here. You're not even allowed to have them in certain parts of town. And if you get caught with an illegal one, that's a felony, which is supposed to come with prison time. Yet this guy somehow still had his freedom. He was living life as a criminal without a care in the world. And what kind of backwards message does that send to people who want to come here and be dangerous? We got signs all over Midtown where I'm at right now saying...
Didn't they read the sign where it said you're not supposed to have a gun? You're telling me he didn't listen to the sign? What the hell is this?
You can't have weapons, yet when people get caught with them, nothing happens to them. That's
They
why
can't
you've
read
got
it, but they have the thing with like the gun, and then there's a circle around with a line over it that says no. You don't need to read it.
that are here selling them illegally, and that's why you've got people that are using them to commit crime all over town, and apparently also in other parts of the country where they're invading the homes of wealthy.
I think that he was just breaking the law intentionally. I think that he didn't respect the law. I think that's the truth. He didn't care what the
Individuals to
sign said.
rob them and then sell whatever they stole on the streets of New York.
Red de Aragua, or TDA, is a violent gang from Venezuela. On social media, police say they display their criminal enterprise and how they're expanding day by day here in the city.
They come here
6 days around.
almost exclusively to commit and engage in criminality.
So there you have it. These gangs, these criminals, they didn't get here by accident. No, they came here because this is the perfect place to
It would logically make sense, right? Because like there's not a lot of like I would assume that a lot of the like agriculture jobs would be like much further down south. Like New York is fucking cold. There's snow here. So like what job are you gonna do? So you're gonna come into America. You're probably coming through Mexico. Like, I mean, maybe not, right? But in a lot of cases, I would assume through Mexico. And you're coming in here. And you go all the way to New York. Like, bro, you're going there to do something specific. Crime tourism? Yeah, exactly. Canada too? Yeah, but like, it would make sense that more people would be coming from Mexico. But you're right, Canada, of course, is going to have some.
what they want to do. And based on what our country's learned about some of these gangs, like this trend in Aragua, everyone should have seen this coming. Because this one group in particular, they are human exploiters. It underpins every single crime they're involved in. And asylum seekers in New York City check that one out.
The most incredible thing to me about this, above everything, is the fact that it's done so brazenly with absolutely no consideration of like, am I going to get in trouble or not? That's what's so shocking to me about this. It's that it's not that it's happening. Of course it's happening, but that people are doing it in plain sight and they don't even care. Like they don't give a shit. Like they're just doing it. That's how it is in South America. I don't know about that. People actually defend this. I don't know.
There's reported being approached by gang members demanding that they join their gang and start committing crimes. Saying no would result in someone being branded an outsider, a fake nobody living in a government-funded homeless shelter that bans police from entering once, because in these places the only holes come from the criminals that have taken them over. And of course these aren't the only criminals that have come here because of what New York City
Let's expect the migrants to hold each other accountable. It's not their job. Number one, it's the police's job. And number two, it's like, yeah, if they get taken over by, like, I don't really in a lot of places, like, fault the citizens for, like, having extremism inside of their country. Because the extremists, if you don't cooperate with them, they'll kill you, right? I mean, that's, of course, they're going to do that.
lets people get away with. We've got this theft ring of criminals from Chile who were here to do business and sell things to corrupt establishments that have a legitimate presence in this city. And we know that terror watch list suspects were apprehended at the U.S. southern border over the last few years and then disappeared into the country. This is incredibly frightening. And all of this crime and lawlessness is enabled by sanctuary city policies that bar the police here from cooperating with ICE when you stack on top of that.
How do people put up with this shit? This is shocking.
Justice system, this entire place is just a playground for criminals to learn and perfect a trade they should never be engaged in the first place. What do you think about that? Are New York City's rules the reason we've got budding criminal empires sprouting up all over the place here? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. I cannot fucking believe that people put up with this bullshit. How do people put up with this? It's a PvP server, yes. It's shocking. Chile is the only South American country currently within a visa waiver program where technically they allow criminals to enter illegally as tourists. Now an entire country is at risk to lose its benefit because some losers think they can outsmart the police. Well, none of this would have been a problem if the police were able to go after them in the first place. And that's the issue. It's that, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of guys from Chile who probably want to come to the U.S. and there's no problems, right? It's not an issue. I think that's probably the vast majority. But you've got a couple of problem boys doing this, and now everybody's losing their fucking mind. Yeah, crypto scams or migrant burglaries, pick one. I would rather have crypto scams because everybody opts into a crypto scam, nobody opts into a burglary. Yep, so I know this is like just a totally stupid, irrelevant, fucking, like, dumb question that nobody should even be asking. But to the extent that you would ask, that's the answer. That's what I think. So, yeah. Wow. Can you imagine police being proposed, these policies being proposed during the Cold War era? I don't even know. I have no idea. Did they even bother to take fingerprints of any person entering, like, in Asia? I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. The Democrats create PvP zones and claim to be the victims for others to generate a solution that they complain about the solution. I just think that there's so much dissonance that goes on with this that it's shocking to me that it's even happening. It really is. It's amazing for me to see this. And I should tweet this at Trump. Yeah, I should. Somebody needs to figure this shit out. It's embarrassing, man. It really is. And I can't believe that people in New York, there's enough people in New York that are okay with this, that they keep this policy going. Yeah, it's insane. Bro, why are the feds spawning on these? What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Crypto is for sure stealing for smart criminals. Yeah, exactly. And Trump would love to go after NYC. I think they should. I mean, I think they should go after like any of these like sanctuary cities things. I think it's outrageous that it's even a reality. It even exists in the first place, right? Like I do. I think it's ridiculous. People like AOC are the ones defending it. I just can't see how you can defend this kind of stuff and think that it's anything other than bad. Like I don't see it anywhere. Sanctuary cities should be unconstitutional. I mean, I'm in shock that they're not already. I mean, I am. Like, I don't see how it even exists. So yeah.
Check Alpha 27 altitude.
Can't the federal government do something? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. As my Nuxnor video about Hassan today was insane. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I have no idea. Remember the AOC clip saying that they are shoplifting?
Never. Stand 3 from 2 seconds. K Street goes to drive down. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I want to.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys have to add it now so I can clear inside.
Different.
The current chronology that we use to break up the past tends to, broadly speaking, be broken up into several discrete chunks, bookended by what we understand in the modern day to be significant historical events. So broadly, this is what we understand as ancient, classical, medieval, Renaissance, or early modern history, and then eventually the modern era. And all of these can be broken down even more, and you can add in things like prehistory, which then leads us to what's known as the Three Age system, or Stone Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age. And you can tweak this even further by throwing in the Copper Age, and you can subdivide the Stone Age into different segments. This is where Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic come into play. And these various divisions lead me to the topic of this video. In the modern day, we have a period that we call ancient history, and it's populated by what we understand to be ancient civilizations. If, however, you were to go back to the ancient era or even the classical era, how would they understand the past? Did ancient civilizations have ancient civilizations of their own? This is sort of a difficult question to answer, but it's a fun one. And the answer is both yes and no at the same time, depending on how you look at it. In a way, we're not really asking whether or not these older cultures had a notion of history, that is, the recorded past, so much as we're asking what the status of ancient and classical knowledge about that past, how they knew what they knew or thought they knew, and about their historiography. So what I want to do in this video then is take a look at a few different examples, starting with the most recent ones and then moving backward through time into earlier cultures and civilizations. But before I get to that, I want to take a couple of seconds and just briefly address what this video is and what it is not. There are a ton of different examples you can look at when you try to answer this question, and at some point, I know somebody in the comments is going to write something along the lines of, well, what about Stonehenge, or Newgrange, or the various standing stones and megaliths throughout Europe and Eurasia more broadly, and North and South America as well. I am not dealing with that sort of thing in this video, not because ancient and classical peoples didn't have thoughts about it, or because it does not deserve an answer, but because it's a slightly different question, which involves a slightly different answer in dealing with things like megaliths, and barrow tombs, and thunderstones, things of that nature. Various artifacts that aren't clearly associated with what ancient peoples would consider to be a civilization very quickly leaves the realm of what they thought history was in the past, and it starts getting into things like folklore. So you start dealing with things like the Fae and Wights and other things of that nature. So it's going to be a separate video. In this one, we're going to be talking about some texts and some archaeology. Anyway, the first example is going to be centered around the classical Greeks. But before we get to that, we have to understand how the Greeks conceptualized the past. Essentially, there were two sort of separate but sort of interwoven ideas. On the one hand, you have the history of the Peloponnesian War by Thucydides, and you have the histories written by Herodotus. Thucydides attempted to base his history on as many facts and reliable information as he could possibly gather. He claimed to write with impartial detachment. His account is generally what we understand to be the beginning of scientific history. Herodotus, on the other hand, did not necessarily attempt to verify every single thing he wrote about, although he tried when and where he was able to do so. The histories is largely an account of the Greco-Persian War, although other places, people, and events are included in it, including tall tales and legends, for which Herodotus was ridiculed both in his own day and in the present, hence his moniker, the Father of Lies. The overall point, however, is that both of these Greek historians were writing about events, broadly speaking, in their own day, and to a degree, in the past, as regards Herodotus. So their conception of history is something that's largely being here and now, quote unquote. The other conception of the past in the Greek mind was one of succeeding ages, in which each age was a deterioration of the previous one. And this also shows up in the writings of Herodotus, just as one example. These are generally known as the ages of men, and they come from Hesiod's works and days and his theogony. Broadly contemporaneous with Homer, if Homer did indeed exist, so roughly the 8th century BC. He believed that mankind was living in the Iron Age, and in the Iron Age life was violent and it was generally unpleasant. Before that came the Age of Heroes, when J.A.E. Jason and the Argonauts, and Heracles and the other heroes of Greek myth roamed the earth. In each age, men became smaller, which is why you read in surviving sources from the Greek world and find like giant bones and things of that nature. Now, these could be fossils, that's entirely possible, but in the context of the Greek outlook on the world, that is, the Iron Age, it fits the schema better to interpret these supposed finds as related to the deterioration of those previous ages. So, when it comes to Greek conceptions of what we would understand to be ancient history, at some point, you leave the mental framework of somebody like Thucydides, and eventually, you enter into the realm of mythology, folklore, and the 5 ages of man. Now, the Greeks were very aware that there were cultures older than theirs, and they were very honest about which cultures those were, such as Egypt. But ruins and things of that nature, past a certain point, were explained by reference to the 5 ages of man. They were aware of some sort of a deep past, but they did not properly understand what those things